Please welcome to the stage our host for today of Education at Microsoft, Anthony Salcito.
Yes! Wow. It's amazing. This is, first off, it's an honor to be in front of some of the world's best educators. Give yourselves a round of applause for getting to E2. This is an amazing week. It's absolutely the most fun, the most enjoyment I will have all week. The energy that you give me and really all the team at Microsoft really fuels us for the entire year. So I want to make sure that all of you share the energy with our Facebook Live crew and crowd that's watching all across the world. Please give everyone who's not joining us here in Paris a great round of applause and show them the energy that you feel here in the room. We're so thrilled to have so many people from all over the world joining us here in the room in Paris, but online. We are actually using Microsoft Translator and the presentation translator built into PowerPoint to make sure that this is an event that's inclusive as possible. Everyone in this room can join in by going to translate.it and join the room code LQKAW, and you can choose the language of your choice to actually get subtitles on your device and your handheld. This is also true for everyone online who's joining us in, and you can actually join a conversation to share thoughts throughout the presentation. So please join me in welcoming to that tool if you so choose. But it's an amazing opportunity to be here, all of us at A2, and this is really a celebration of not only the role that you play, but all of you. Your leadership, your commitment to your students, the impact that you make in your countries. And certainly what we've got to do across the world is celebrate the role teachers play in our world. That's what E2 is all about. It's about coming together, it's about sharing and learning, building lifelong friendships. Many of you who see each other online and know each other by face and certainly by your online presence are meeting for the first time, and that's an amazing opportunity. Hopefully bringing the world a little closer, making the world a little smaller, and celebrating the passion and commitment that all of you have. That's what this is about. And the journey to E2 is amazing. I've seen videos, I've watched a lot of you post online about the journey to E2. And this is a journey that's not about packing, it's not about the flight. The journey really starts by your passion and your commitment, your dedication to your profession, to your students, and all of you recognize that your students are a huge reason why you're here. It's why you're an educator. And that journey is something that's shared not only by those of you in the room, but all of the folks that are watching online. A journey to make every student realize their potential, to unleash the talent that's in your classrooms, to make a difference in the world. That's what this is about. That's what we're here to celebrate. And I'm excited to have the journey end here in Paris, but continue further, because I know you're going to build relationships and connections that you'll take forward to bring new innovations in your classroom. You're going to learn things, get inspired by techniques and approaches that will hopefully give your passion even further strength to go further. Now, one of the themes, the theme of this year's event, in E2, we like to have a theme every year, is change makers. It's needed now more than ever before. We need people who have the fortitude, the vision, the commitment to drive real change. All of you represent change makers in your schools. When I visit many of your schools, I see that firsthand. I see the work that you're doing in your classrooms. I get inspired, and you truly should be proud of everything that you're doing to drive change. Change is hard. It requires bravery. It requires courage. Sometimes it requires failure so you can learn and improve and strengthen your fortitude based on the work that you've done. But change makers are needed now more than ever before. And I want to ask you a favor. You're going to attend E2. You're going to get connected with this great group of Microsoft innovative educators, innovative educator experts, my favorite people in the world. But I want to make sure that you bring others along. Go back to your schools. share your journey. Bring the thinking that you have, the change maker mentality to others. Lift educators up. I want to see a world of innovative educators who are excited and expressing their passions and embracing the change that's ahead. This is an amazing opportunity, and this is going to be an amazing week. And we've got some really incredible speakers that are going to be joining us on stage. I want to recognize, and really, I'll really do this on behalf of all the Microsoft people that are joining us here. This event is the result of many, many hard work, and I get a chance to thank all of you on behalf of some great Microsoft people. But we're one team. We're a team across Microsoft. We're a team together with our Microsoft Innovative Educators to drive the change. We're going to learn together this week. We're going to celebrate and share together this week, and we're going to hopefully fuel all of our passions to drive even more change going forward. So let's enjoy, let's celebrate, and I look forward to having a great week with all of you. Now, please, as we shift into the presentation, we're going to have a lot of amazing speakers. And when I think of change makers, everyone who's going to come on stage is a change maker. And our first speaker is someone who is in many ways has been a hero of mine. I started with Microsoft when I was 21 years old, and I was learning a lot. And many, many executives at Microsoft have taught me along the way, and I've learned from some amazing leaders. Many of those leaders have since left, but there's one leader that has been constant through all of that change. And he is not only with his personal commitment to the work that he does, his travel has been an inspiration for me. He travels to about 170 countries, always meeting with customers and learning about how we can do better as a company. And so this has been a little bit of an inspiration of the work that I do and get a chance to do every day. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Microsoft, not only a French native, but Microsoft's leader of our global sales and marketing organization and president and executive vice president of Microsoft. Please join me in welcoming Philippe Courtois. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you so much. I didn't realize I was his hero. That's actually very touching. Good morning, MIEs. Are you having fun here in Paris? Yeah? Okay. Welcome. It's really a great pleasure and a privilege for me, in my home country indeed, for once. I'm not traveling, I'm in Paris with you. I booked that day a long time ago, actually, to talk to you and to really start the day talking about some inspirational educators like you who've been shaping the hearts and minds and lives and careers of millions of people on the planet. And just to start with a short personal story, I can still remember today, actually, I was 8 years old in a small French school in the south of France. I grew up in Nice, on the seaside. And I had a very unique history teacher. Her name was Mrs. Marcoux, and she was bigger than life. And she left me a big impression, one particular story. She was talking about this incredible person, legendary, clearly learner, traveler, and doing so much discovery, Magellan, okay, Magellan. And Magellan, went all across the world. And at one point in the story, I remember still pretty in my mind, Mrs. Marcoux stood up, on the chalkboard. At the time, there was no Surface Hub in the schools. I know there's still a few, actually. And on the chalkboard, she basically drew a picture of a huge and weird cloud. And for some of you may remember the stories of Magellan, those clouds you could only see actually when you're traveling to the southern hemisphere. And those clouds have been called the Magellanic clouds. And somehow, since that day, that got me in my mind. And that's why probably for the last 30 years plus of my life, I've been privileged on behalf of Microsoft to travel the world like hundreds of times, north to south, east to west, all across the planet, to actually seek those particular clouds. As I did that, I was actually stunned, I was always touched to meet just some amazing people, educators in particular like you, shaping the lives of so many kids and youth in the world. So for that, huge thank you from my heart, because you are doing a fantastic job back in your countries. You should give you a big hand, actually. So, long story back to my professional personal life. As I travel the world, like you, I can see everywhere and across the society and the economy becoming digital. The world is digital, you know it, both in your personal life, in your professional life. You are consuming, digesting, interacting with more and more digital services all days and nights, all the time. And by the way, this is just the beginning. It's going to grow and keep growing. As I'm talking as well to CEOs of very large enterprise across many industries, I would like as well to reflect with you on the big trends I see of the new set of skills needed in the world to actually grow and do more when you're a kid today. And I would say that I see a big change in many industries. Look at what's going on today as an example in healthcare. In healthcare, when you're able to combine data science, AI algorithms, and cloud, you can do some amazing research work on genomics. You can actually do some predictive medicine and save lives. You can actually assist millions of actually caretakers and physicians in the world to do remote medicine with many people who never had access to medicine in the world. When you go to another industry like automotive, the automotive companies, you know, as of today, we're still thinking about themselves as building physical metal cars. And today, they are all very busy reinventing themselves to become mobility services platforms. What do I mean? I mean that through the digitization of driving, autonomous driving, through EVs, chargers, through a lot of scenarios in the car, entertaining people, but also at work, the way mobility is going to change is dramatic. And those companies need a lot of those digital skills. And then the last example would be, I would say, in the financial services industries, going as well through massive changes. The benefits today of using, again, data, analytics, AI to do fraud detection, to actually make sure you manage well your risk, could save trillions of dollars on the planet for banks and services that are actually not well managed today. I could go on and on. I can see that happening and shaping, completely reshaping industries with new entrants and established companies that are becoming digital. And I think the big implication of that, of course, is what kind of skills do we need? What does it mean actually for the kids? I know that some of you yesterday had the opportunity to visit the AI school, right, in Paris. I hope that was exciting to see that youth from all kind of walks of life, by the way, learning in an immersive way on AI so that they see that it's feasible, approachable, and they can get a job for sure, they will get a job. And so this is one initiative among many where clearly we see the new world of work being shaped. And the new world of work for me starts with the ongoing life learning. You know, I've got two daughters. They're 20, 24 years old. And I've told them, both of them, you got to change. You're going to probably have 15 different jobs in your professional life. 15 different jobs. I think actually that's the case. Why? Because the economy is shifting at such a rapid pace that each one of our kids and the students you have will have to reimagine, grow their skills all the time to learn and build new capacity to actually respond to those challenges. And so to me, it starts with all that growth mindset, as we love to, you know, to practice it. And you all, I'm sure many of you have read and maybe big practitioners of the book from Carol Dweck, Growth Mindset. It's all about having this appetite to learn it all as opposed to say it all. And I think you've got an amazing role as educators to ignite that excitement with kids to keep learning all the time. Another big move as well in that new world of work is certainly collaborative skills. And it's not about just technology. Of course, technology and all of you in the room are leveraging, using a lot of collaboration platforms, and I'm not going to talk about our products now, but it's amazing to see what is asked to people now on a factory floor, in a retail store, as a doctor, or in an enterprise to collaborate so differently. Same as well with the big changes happening with the gig economy. Think about that. In the US, 30% of the jobs are freelancers' jobs. Same in Europe, by the way. And I know there's exactly the same shapes happening in different forms in Asia, in Africa, and people and kids want to create their own jobs. They're going to be entrepreneurs. They're going to be social entrepreneurs for others. They really want to create their own destiny. And that's another big change, I think, in the workforce and new world of work. In that context, we see ourselves as playing a role to help shaping and providing access to both digital skills and, in a way, social cognitive skills as well to kids. So today, we're actually very happy to announce a partnership with one such company. It's called Open Classroom. Some of you may know, hopefully, Open Classroom. It's one of the largest leading online classroom that are delivering today high-quality diploma, professional credentials, and graduation to 3 million students in the world. We're embarking today on the joint program to deliver a master with guaranteed job to 1,000 kids in UK, France to start with, and then in US, and we'll expand globally. This is all about the content online of a lot of those new skills, including in this particular case, cloud and AI, to be accessible in a different way, not just through MOOCs, but through active coaching remotely with such platforms. And there are other companies obviously in the world, but today we are very excited to announce that unique partnership, again, showing the way of combining self-learning, online learning, collaborative learnings, and schools for sure playing a big role there as well. Now, it's not just about, of course, digital skills. Actually, there was a very interesting study done about a year ago, which still remains actually super relevant. McKinsey was studying the key patterns of the job skills needs by 2030. And what came out of that is the following. The two fastest growing needs across the entire society and economy. I'm not talking about tech, okay? I'm talking about all kinds of jobs, not just executive jobs like mine, of course, like white collars, but even blue collars. There are two types of skills. One, of course, continuing is digital skills proficiency. But the other one, which is growing tremendously, is emotional, social, cognitive skills. This is in a big need. Because guess what? As computers become or try to become more humans with AI and assisted intelligence for people in their jobs, you got to have people who are even more humans. You got to have people who can connect to each other, who can collaborate, who can get others to rally and support a work process, a project to change something or to change the world. So that's a big job. And I believe that you are, and because you're in this room, of course, you are very special educators, you are providing the leadership to get those skills as well developed, well understood, because they're going to be key and critical to the success of many economies in the planet, wherever you live in the world. And so continuing on that, I'm a very strong believer that we all need is going to take a big set of partnerships across the enterprise world, across NGOs as well, across education system, across the civil society, to truly closing the skills gap and to really empower many more kids to achieve more in the future. And I just want to give you a glimpse of some examples of programs we have across the world that I feel really passionate about. So this morning yesterday you heard about the AI school in Paris. The team in France is opening actually 12 schools like this one across all the regions, because the beauty of this program is you got enterprise ready to fund the programs. You got NGOs called Simplan, which is building accessible digital skills for the masses. And we got Microsoft supporting that effort. And we can create cohorts of those kids learning AI and making that accessible. Another amazing example, Unicité. This is the name of one of the largest French NGOs that has created in our home country we call a civic service. Civic service is actually what it means. It means that the government is paying for 7 months of salary for particularly underprivileged youth in the country to go and do some great work publicly in the local community. And they got to learn, they are taking initiative personally in their cities, their communities, to do fantastic work with NGOs and enterprise. And with Microsoft and Unicité in the country, we're going to go and train thousands of those young people to go and educate and actually ignite 1 million kids between 8 to 16 years old over the next few years, 1 million, to learn about the basics of AI and data and cloud so that they can demystify what it is and get them a chance to have the appetite to learn more. Many other great examples, I'm not going to give justice to this slide. Of course, the Black Girls Code of DigiGirls that we do across the world to go and help a lot of young girls in particular, indeed, to access and do fantastic job as coders as well, absolutely. And we see a lot of more energy going in that field. Same with steals in the US, where there's a very big problem going on again to train a lot on education, digital literacy across the US. So a lot is going on, which is all about really changing with digital, social, cognitive skills to really have an impact on the world. And so really to wrap it up, I would say, this is a very amazing time I think we are going through all together. This is an amazing time because this is a time where all together, and you in particular, I want really to go back to you, you have the opportunity to truly shape the minds of a new generation of change makers in the world. And for that, I want to give you on behalf of Microsoft, not just a huge encouragement, but huge applause for the fantastic work you do every day to inspire them to go and achieve more for the society and the world. Thank you, and have a great day in Paris, and enjoy the summit and event together. Thank you.
Thank you so much. How's everyone doing? We have some great opportunity to give some shout outs. I've got some shout outs online. Give a round of applause to folks from all over the world. We've got Layla joining us from Georgia, Paul from Wales, Amanda from South Africa, Lister from Vietnam, Alfie from the Philippines, Emma from the UK. We've got some amazing folks joining us online. Let's give a round of applause again to everyone watching on Facebook Live. As Jean-Philippe said, there's lots of change happening in the world of work. And the world that you're preparing your students for is absolutely changing. This is something that's going on across France as well, as the French ministry and the French government work to assess what's happening in a digital world. And I'm really pleased to actually bring up our next presenter, who's fighting for not only digital rights, but to bring communities together in this new digital economy, digital world, to make sure that every citizen has a voice. And in her work, she's supporting French citizens that are living abroad in Latin America and the Caribbean. Do we have anyone from Latin America and the Caribbean? I'm sure she'll be very interested in helping to connect with you on the work that you're doing. So please join me in welcoming French Minister of, oops, I'm going backwards. I have it upside down. Sometimes this happens. Please join me in welcoming Paula Forteza.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. So I admire tech actors that can pitch so easily. I have trouble getting out of my more formal way, so I have my notes. I'm sorry, I'm going to try to make it less boring possible. So, digital is an opportunity. I'm still an optimist, so I like to start by that. Digital is an opportunity. But as we are starting to discover, it can also be a threat. What we know for sure is that digital is everywhere, and it is here to stay. It has been said before, so we need to deal with it. We need to take a stand. So what's the issue of digital in education, in schools? I will start with the positive, to stay optimist. So digital technologies can enable teachers to succeed in the transmission of knowledge and the individualization of teaching. It can also be a tool for pedagogical renewal, which can improve efficiency and equity of the education system. Finally, we need to prepare students to the challenges related to a world that is where tech is everywhere. We need to teach them, to prepare them for digital citizenship and the job markets of tomorrow. So how do we do this in France? We have three approaches. The first one is to fight against digital illiteracy. So in France, we like to determine things by the opposite. Instead of saying we like to develop digital skills, we say we like to fight against digital illiteracy. We have that way of thinking. But we are doing that through a French educational reform. We are putting more classes of code in schools. We have a new curriculum with digital science and technology courses from the first years of school, with 1.5 hours per week more of education regarding code for students. In the last years, that can go up to 6 hours per week. So it's a real specialization that students can choose in computer science and in robotics and in coding. They also have extracurricular activities regarding algorithmic literacy, programming, etc. We, for instance, use a tool that's called PIX, is an open source software where with a very simple quiz, you can determine and evaluate your coding abilities. And after that, you have an offer of tutorials that are personalized to your personal situation. So there you can find up to 700 tutorials, and we already have 270 schools that are using this system. So this is very effective, and it's proving to be very useful for the students. The second part that we are working on is how to foster innovation in schools. And we have put in place a lab in the Ministry of Education, which is called the Lab 110 bis, where students can work with teachers, with researchers in a collaborative way, open way, to come up with new methods, with new tools. They work, for instance, on MOOCs. They work on gamified approach. They work on how to integrate tablets in the classroom. They organize hackathons in schools. For instance, there's one that's going to be organized in a couple of weeks in a school to teach students to learn how to code in Python. So very specific issues. And thirdly, we want to go even further. We want to be at the top of the digital technologies. So we want to be able to integrate in the classroom AI, virtual reality, immersive approach. And in order to do that, we need to collaborate with the industry, with the startups, with the EdTech ecosystem. To do that, we are going to have more investments, public investments coming from the French Tech program, from the BPI, which is a public fund. You know, the EdTech ecosystem is growing every year. We have today more than 7 billion euros that are invested worldwide, but it's mainly in America and in China. And in France, in Europe, we want to have a say in this, so we're going to invest accordingly. So as I said, there's the positive side of digital innovation, collaboration, new tools, new methods. And there's the dark side of the force, let's say, cyber threats, harassment, fake news, hate speech, screen addiction. We need to be very aware of these threats. And the education system is also responsible to prepare students to this world. We need to teach them to have a responsible and ethical use of digital technologies with data protection, privacy, media, literacy education to fight against fake news, environmentally responsible approaches regarding technology. So in France, we are also approaching this with three courses of action. The first one is how to educate students and prepare them. So we have a website that's called Internet Responsable, Responsible Internet, which gives tools and resources to the teachers so that they can, in their pedagogical approach, integrate these concepts. So they have toolkits, fact sheets, practical documents to prepare their classrooms. We're also working a lot on digital hygiene. We're working with associations, with media to work against fake news, to prepare students to critical thinking, to thinking about checking their sources, fact-checking when they're working in their classrooms. The second approach is regarding the implementation of GDPR, so the data protection policy that was put in place in Europe. I had the chance to work closely on that, and we put in place a lot of different actions in this new GDPR. We, for instance, put in place a training obligation for teachers on data protections, so that they could be very aware of this issue and transmit it in the correct way to students. We had, for instance, teachers that open up Facebook groups in their classrooms, and they weren't aware that with the new legal framework, we have to have the parents' approval for students less than 15 years. So all this is being transmitted to teachers, training the teachers. We also have an obligation of informing parents about which are the tools that are digital tools that are used in the classrooms and which are the treatments of personal data that are being carried away. So that's so that the parents can be reassured that these tools don't go beyond the school setting. So this is very important. We have very feisty parents in France. The other thing that we do on personal data is that every minister has to appoint a DPO, a data protection officer. So that's a person that's responsible for looking very carefully about the data processing of personal data of the children. There has been a partnership, a very close partnership between the CNIL, which is the authority that is working on data protection in France, and the Ministry of Education to put in place a very concrete plan to go forward in this direction. And the last thing that the Ministry of Education is working on is regarding open source. For me, open source is very important when we're talking about technology, because it drives innovation, it gives transparency, more control over the tools. And for the Ministry of Education, this is a priority to foster open source tools. They have, for instance, launched EOL, which is a platform where you have bricks of free software for teachers that are ready to deploy, ready to use technologies. We also have CIAL, which is a catalog of open source pedagogical solutions. And we do have in public procurement, not yet a prioritization, but a mandatory, the fact that we have to mandatorily take into account the open source offer before we pass a contract. So we do need to see if there's an existing open source offer. We do need to compare it with the other existing alternatives. And we have, though, a prioritization for the projects, the call for projects. We have e-education, which is a call for projects where the industry works with the teachers, with the researchers to put up some proposals. And when we choose these projects, we take into account the fact that it is open source or not. So as I said, we do have pros and cons in digital. We need to handle them. We need to know how to navigate into that. But more broadly, regarding digital, the President Macron has been very proactive in regulating digital platforms. We have a law on fake news. We have a law on hate speech that's coming. We have a digital tax that's coming too. And these solutions might still be imperfect, but we are trying to face the issues, and we are trying to test solutions and see which is the best one. So I think that tech companies will have to understand at some point that in order to be more ethical, in order to be more responsible, there will have some spending to do in order to be compliant, and that maybe the tech industry will not be as, let's say, will not be as beneficial as before, that will have less profits. But this is something that actors need to take into account, need to understand. I was surprised that Microsoft was one of the first companies, I have to recognize, that understood this. I had one of the high-level managers of Microsoft in my office a couple of months ago, and he was talking about facial recognition. And he was the one telling me, you know, you have to regulate us. Please regulate us. We need a public legal framework that has been discussed socially in order to know what we can and cannot do with this new technology that is very, very powerful. So I want to answer that, yes, don't worry, we will regulate. Thank you very much. I hope you have a very nice day today.
Thank you. Thank you. I think all of those things are important as we think about the transition that we're making. And Jean-Philippe's and Paola's comments really set the foundation for a lot of what we're going to share and learn from our educators and the following speakers. One of the things that Jean-Philippe talked about was mindset and the importance of mindset. And really, as someone who's visited many of your schools and schools around the world, I've traveled to many, many countries, probably visited over 1,000 schools. And I've seen amazing examples of technology. But what really stands out is the leadership, the focus, the confidence of students, the passion from educators, the teamwork that's going on across the school. Mindset is everything. We think of this as a digital transformation and a technology transformation, but this is fundamentally a people transformation. All of you are leading the way for your students, and you're needing to think differently, create different attitudes, different focus from your students. This is the change that's going on. I think we think of this too often as what we see, but it's really, how do your students feel when they enter your classrooms? Do they feel ready to take on the world? Do they feel capable and responsible for some of the largest challenges that we're facing across the planet? That's the work that we've got to do. Now, changing mindset starts with changing culture. And I want to inspire all of you to be a hacker as it relates to your school's culture. And everything about culture starts from the things that you can reinforce. What's the language you use? Do you use the language that actually propels your students to take on more? Do you bring yourselves into the learning process with your students? I've seen many schools call teachers chief learners, as opposed to actually distinguishing between students and educators, bringing everyone together in a learning journey. What are the things that you're measuring and celebrating in your schools? These are things that can reinforce the culture and is going to be needed as we go forward. So I want you to, not only, you are all change makers, go out and hack the culture. Make sure that you extend the work that you're doing beyond the classrooms, because I know you have amazing experiences happening every day in your classrooms. Challenge yourselves to make it happen across the floor that you teach on, across your entire school, across your entire village or community. These are the things that we've got to do to change the world. And we've got to do it to enable every student when they walk into your classrooms to expect more. It's the number one thing that we've got to measure. Measure the environment of your student expectations. Do the students walk in saying, I can do more? Do they understand why they're learning what they're learning? This is one of the questions that we often need to ask. Do students connect what they're learning in school to what they're going to do and make in the world? To the skills that they're honing, to the foundation for change that they're building, to the passion for work that they're enabling. This is important. And as we think about this digital reality, and Jean-Philippe highlighted this as well, we're living in a world of increasingly human skills. This is sort of a great irony that we have more and more technology tools at our disposal, but what the world of work needs, in many ways because of it, is more human skills. Ability to communicate and collaborate, to work with each other. This is what's going to drive change. Students who can not only bring the power of their own energy, their ability to understand how to inspire others, their creativity, their ability to problem solve in new ways, their mindset to change culture. These are the things that all of you need to cultivate in your students, because this is what the world of work increasingly needs. And because of these changes, because of this new dimension, because of the human nature of skills, you see it in the importance of social and emotional learning growing across our schools. And this is fundamental, and this is true globally, not just for innovative educators, not just those of you who are watching online and attending E2, but teachers matter more now than ever before. Teachers have always been really the foundation of any community and every society. They've always been heroes to Microsoft. But the reality is, the role of a teacher is more critical now because the skills that we need in the workplace have changed. It requires a connection between what we're learning and what we're going to do in ways that we didn't ever need before. The reality is not only the jobs in the workplace has changed, but the capabilities of what you can do to extend your learning, to use digital tools to provide more insight, to connect students to what they're experiencing in your classroom, to actually do something with it outside of the classroom. These are tremendous opportunities that all of you are living. Many of you are the world's best examples of. And this is one of the reasons why we've got to celebrate and continue to encourage the power of teachers to come forward, to have every one of your countries recognize the importance that you play in the society. If we can do one thing from E2, and I know we have many, many system leaders in the room, is to recognize the need to celebrate and raise the expectation of our community and our society of the value of teachers and the work that they need to do. Because if you think about education as the fuel for GDP growth and economic stability, the foundation of that is our teachers in our classrooms. And we don't have a shortage of talent. All of you know this. We just have to unleash that talent on the world. And this is about really creating a connection between what students have naturally, but giving them a voice, giving them the ability to actually execute that voice, to drive change now, to use digital tools to unleash students' thoughts on the world, to connect with each other so they can accelerate their learning, to drive purpose on change of things that we need to change in the world. And certainly Microsoft believes in the power to unleash student voice. And it's one of the reasons why we are so excited to bring a new technology partner and a company into our family in education in Microsoft, and that's Flipgrid. Many of you have participated in our Flipgrid experiences, and I'm looking forward. By the way, I haven't watched the Flipgrid. I've told I need to bring some tissues because it's going to probably drive me to tears. I cry very easily anyway, so it's probably going to happen naturally. But the Flipgrid, I'm looking forward to seeing it. Everyone online can contribute as well, but I want to create an amazing experience that we can share the world of how awesome all of you are. So I encourage you who haven't built a Flipgrid video to share your voice. But Flipgrid is also about sharing an amazing student voice. And I'm excited to join and announce our next speaker, who not only is doing tremendous work at Flipgrid, but doing work that aligns to all of us, bringing the community of educators together to use the power of student voice and to celebrate the power of student voice. So please join me in welcoming Joey Taralson to the stage to share a little bit more about Flipgrid. Thank you, sir. Click right there.
How's it going, everybody? Oh my gosh, my name is Joey Taralson. I'm Director of Community at Flipgrid. I am so excited to be here. I don't know if you guys know this, but Flipgrid's pretty new to Microsoft, so this is my team's first time at E2, just like all of you. This is absolutely incredible, isn't it? I'm really excited to talk to you today about something very near and dear to my heart. You probably saw it's in my title. That's community. And specifically, I want to tell you some stories about educators that are doing amazing things in their communities to empower and inspire the voice of their learners. The educators that I'm going to talk to you about today believe what I'm confident all of us in this audience believe, and that's that every student has ideas that deserve to be heard, ideas that deserve to be recognized, and ideas that deserve to be amplified. But as I tell you these stories, I want to focus not only on the innovation within these educators' classrooms, but I want to focus on the absolutely vital role that you all, the community around these educators, play in driving and propelling forward innovation. But before I go any further, I want to stop like we do in all of our Flipgrid presentations, and I want to thank you. You guys make our mission possible. You are the inspiration behind Flipgrid, behind Teams, behind OneNote, behind Immersive Reader, all of the learning tools, and all the Microsoft suite of products. You take these pieces of software that we create, and you make magic with them. You give your students strength. You amplify their ideas. You provide a space for them all to contribute. This conference, E2, it's not about Paris. It's not about Microsoft. It's not about technology. It's about you all. And it's about this community of educators and the amazing things that you guys do to amplify the voice of your learners and to inspire each other. I see this inspiration every day on social media. I see as you share your ideas with each other, you share your projects, you share your successes, and you share your failures. You share your ideas. I don't know if you guys know Scott Titmus, but you share humor with each other. You brighten each other's day. You share your time to help strangers. And what I fail to realize a lot of times when I'm sharing, both on social and in person, is that when you're sharing amongst a community of like-minded individuals that are on the same exact mission as all of us to empower and inspire our learners. Your actions change people's lives, and that is the power of community. The first story I want to tell you is about an MIE expert, a former E2 attendee, a Flipgrid Student Voice Ambassador, Kelly Williams. Kelly's from Wales. She teaches 9 and 10-year-olds, and she believes in the power of student voice to her core. She puts student voice at the center of everything she does. When she starts a new lesson, she starts by asking her students, what do you want to learn about this lesson? And how do you want to learn about this lesson? So she was teaching her students about World War II. And one of her students raised her hand and said, Miss Williams, I think it'd be really cool if we could talk with somebody that had lived through World War II. And Ms. Williams, Kelly, was really excited because her nan is 88 years old. She was 9 years old during World War II, the exact same age as Kelly's learners. How amazing of an experience would it be for her classroom to be able to bring Nan in and answer all of their questions and just have a conversation about what life was like during a absolutely monumental time in our world's history. But there's a problem, and that is that Nan doesn't travel. Nan was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. She's not super confident to get out of the house. But Kelly's an innovator. So she set up a Flipgrid. She had her students ask questions, whatever they wanted to ask of Nan. They recorded them on Flipgrid, and then Nan packed up her laptop. She got on the train, and she went all the way up to her Nan's house. And she played every single student video for Nan. And then Nan did something really amazing. She went and she replied to every single student's video with what life was like living during World War II. And she shared some absolutely monumental stories. She shared a story about how at the beginning of the war, she had German and Italian prisoners of war living on her family's farm in Wales. Remember, these are enemies during a time of war, living on her family's property. And what she told the students was that not only did her family treat those German and Italian prisoners of war with dignity and respect, but they were actually friendly. They shared tea every afternoon. They lived alongside each other like friends, like members of the same worldwide community that we're all part of. How inspiring is that? Now this example of intergenerational learning and global empathy was possible because Kelly is an innovator, and Kelly thinks differently about how to engage her students and provide amazing experiences for her students. But I want to take it back one step further. This is Lanny Watkins. Lanny is an MIE expert from Wales. He attended E2 in 2016, and he left inspired. He left E2 knowing that he was a change maker and that he had the ability to take what he had gained at E2 and empower his learners and empower the educators in his community. So this tweet is from, I think, June of 2018. And in this tweet, Lanny has empowered his learners to go to a conference and share their voice about how they amplify their ideas using tools like Flipgrid, Skype in the classroom, you name it, really why their ideas matter. And Kelly, a change maker, passionate about student voice, was there in the front row and captured the experience when she first learned about the ways that she can amplify the voice of her students. That is the power of community. Kelly empowered and inspired her learners because Lanny empowered and inspired his learners, and they shared. That is community. The next educator that I want to tell you about is Rosa Liarte Alcaine from Malaga, Spain. Rosa is a Flipgrid student voice ambassador. She teaches 12 to 15-year-olds civics and social studies, and she was teaching them about, they were learning about gender equality in history. And much like Kelly, Rosa is a passionate champion of student voice and of amplifying the ideas and exploring the ideas of her learners and allowing her learners to take a lesson in a direction that maybe she wasn't comfortable with or that she didn't know that they were going to go. One of her students raised her hand and said, Miss Liarte, I noticed something. I noticed that of all the street names in Malaga, it seems like almost none of them are named after women in history. And Rosa thought about it for a moment, and she said, no, that I think you're right. I actually can't remember seeing any. So she empowered her learners. Her learners went on maps, and they scoured the maps of Malaga, and they documented the names of all the streets. And they found out that of all the streets in Malaga that were named after people, less than 20% were named after women. And of that 20%, the vast majority were biblical and saints. They were not named after women that had done crazy things throughout history to cause positive change. So she empowered them to take that research that they had put together and to present it to the city council and the mayor. And they went to the mayor and they explained what they had found, and they explained the streets that they identified that might be good candidates for a change, a pretty massive change if you think about it. The street names around us are the way that we all navigate the communities that we live in, right? And because of their work, her students were able to change the name of 5 streets in Malaga, Spain. Absolutely incredible. Her students made an observation, Rosa empowered them, and they took action, and their voice caused change. And Rosa was obviously very, very excited. She shared her excitement of what her students had done, and there's now a community of over 200 educators across Spain that are fighting to recognize the amazing contributions of women throughout history in terms of street signs. If you're interested in finding out more, you can check out marescoandakaye.com, womendeserveastreet.com. But I want to leave you with a couple words of advice. The first is we just got done traveling throughout California for 2 weeks on the Flipgrid bus tour. We stopped at like 21 schools, met with teachers and students, And one of them was Bill Selleck, and he had an amazing quote that I want us all to remember, and that is, if you want to have wacky, zany ideas in your classroom, hang out with wacky, zany people. That's exactly right. Like we say in France, wee wee! If I can leave you with one tangible piece of advice, it's to live by the rule of 30. It's something I try to do in my life every single day. The rule of 30 is very simple. It's that 30 extra seconds of my time can profoundly impact the life of somebody in my community. When we take 30 extra seconds to connect someone, to thank someone, to amplify somebody's idea, that is what drives community, and that's what keeps us all growing stronger and innovating further. You are all here because you are leading a mission of student empowerment, and the people sitting next to you are on that exact same mission. Treat the next 2 days like the gift that they are. Make friends, seek inspiration, go home, change the world like you already are. We are so grateful that you're here with us today. We're so grateful that you are changing the lives of your students and your community. And like I said before, you make our mission possible, and we are so proud to be able to support and thank and champion and amplify the amazing work that you all do. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Joey. It was awesome to see all those great MIEs highlighted in Joey's presentation and the work they were doing. How many of you are Flipgrid fans? Okay, maybe I should do this as this poll. How about Teams? Anyone using Forms? Do I have any OneNote Avengers in the room? Oh, Minecraft. Got to work on Minecraft a little bit. I expected Minecraft to be a bigger of a hit. Maybe Minecraft goes up a bit. So I'm excited about that. That was a really good opportunity, and Flipgrid is an amazing tool to share and celebrate not only the impact that you're having, but giving students voice and agency. We are in an incredibly transformative time and an era, and technologies, not only like the cloud and what the cloud is enabling, blockchain, the large amounts of data that's going on, the impact of artificial intelligence that will change everything, new technologies like quantum computing. These are really amazing opportunities for us to create and build tools that will change our classrooms, but frankly, recognizing that these tools that are impacting our lives today will impact every industry, the way in which we approach global challenges. These are solutions that we need to enable for our students, because the students are going to use these tools to change the world. And we are looking at some very, very big paradigm shifts with technologies. The emergence of artificial intelligence, the foundational changes of quantum computing. And these are tools that our students will need to learn and embrace to solve big challenges. So I thought about, how do I get someone to share about these amazing changes on the complexities and the impact of artificial intelligence, the way in which we think about quantum computing. These are tough subjects. But I think the best way to share this is to actually show what's possible and what's happening in our classrooms. Microsoft has had the pleasure of working with an organization that I got introduced to in a visit to Canada called the Knowledge Society. And I love this organization because they work with students to bring confidence and connection to these large challenges to the work that the students do, and get students to think about the classrooms that they have and what they're going to do outside the classroom. I love their focus on mindset. One of the things that they tell their students is to have a boss mentality. I know many of you have a boss mentality. I want your students to have a boss mentality. And what the boss mentality does is it brings student confidence out to say, how do I bring my talents to solve the world's toughest challenges? So to talk a little bit about how AI and quantum computing is going to change our future, I wanted to bring out a 15-year-old student from Vaughan Secondary High School in Ontario, Canada, to talk about the work that she's doing to solve the problems the world is facing using the power and potential of AI and quantum. So please join me in welcoming Brianna Gopal.
The first time I learned about quantum computing, I was absolutely fascinated. I kept reading, and every single time I learned something new, I just wanted to learn more. I really thought that quantum computing would be the perfect job for me to have in the future. Maybe when I was 25 or 30 years old, almost double the age that I am right now. A couple of months later, I was talking to one of my mentors at the Knowledge Society. And the Knowledge Society is a human accelerator that really tries to develop high school students from their mentality, their knowledge base, and their skill set. And we were deciding, which technology did I want to start learning about? Which technology was I going to start spending the next 5 months talking to experts about, developing some skills in? And I said, well, I'm really interested in quantum computing, but it's just too difficult. It's too complex, it's too abstract, there's so much math behind it. Most of the people who are doing anything in this space right now have multiple degrees. I mean, how could a 14-year-old possibly be able to do anything within this field? He looked back at me with a bit of a weird, confused face, and he said, Brianna, just do it anyways. Woo! And so here I am today talking in front of all of you amazing people about what I've been working on in this space. But first, I want to give a huge thanks to everybody at Microsoft. You guys put in so much effort to make this event happen, and I really appreciate all the work that you guys done. I'm super excited to be here today, and I would like to also thank all the educators that are in the audience who flew out from 90 different countries. What you guys are doing to prepare the students for the future is amazing. Now, before we talk about the technology, I want to first tell you why we even need quantum computing in the first place. This is Moore's Law. Every single year, we've been doubling the number of transistors we can fit on a chip. The more transistors there are, the more computing power we have. But in the next couple of years, we're going to hit a physical limit of the number of transistors we can fit on a chip. Now that becomes a huge problem because we're going to hit a limit of the amount of computational power we can have. And in the next decade, we're going to be facing some of the most difficult problems we have yet. And difficult problems require tons of computational power. I mean, let's just take drug discovery by example. It takes 10 years to get a drug from the lab to the market and $2.6 billion. And that's because drug discovery is a super complicated process. It's kind of like trying to find the optimal path in a maze, to go through every single path in the maze to find the best one. Take that problem, multiply it by 1,000 different mazes. That's drug discovery. Self-driving cars are really the same. For a self-driving car to make a left turn, it has to consider the speed of the cars approaching it. Is there a car 50 meters away, 100 meters away? What are the conditions on the road like? Is there a pedestrian? What is the age of that pedestrian? Now, we're having a lot of trouble figuring out problems like this. What if we want a self-driving car to know about all the objects on the road and all the pedestrians on the road? That's going to be impossible because we're limited by the amount of computational power we have. If we don't figure out a way to exceed the amount of computational power we have 3, 5, 10 years down the road, we are going to be stuck with a bunch of really complicated problems and no feasible solutions. So what we need is a paradigm shift. We need to completely change the way we're thinking about solving these problems because otherwise we may not be able to. So scientists have been thinking of these new fancy computers called quantum computers. And from interning at Xanadu, a photonic quantum computing company in Toronto, and also working with a lead quantum computing company in Berkeley called Rigetti, I can tell you this technology is mind-blowing. You see, if we were to give a classical computer a maze, it would go through every single path in the maze to find the most optimal one. we give this same problem to a quantum computer, it can go through all the paths exponentially faster. That means a problem that originally took 150,000 years to solve can now take a couple of seconds. That's crazy. And so because I got so excited about this area in particular, I started to do more research, started to read more, started to learn more about different concepts, different algorithms within quantum computing, and I started to reach out to experts. One of the first companies that I reached out to was called Xanadu, and they're working on photonic quantum computing. So I messaged the CEO on LinkedIn. Hi, I'm Brianna. I'm a 15-year-old. I'm super really interested in quantum computing. Could we possibly have a meeting? 6 meetings later with the CEO that basically consisted of me ranting on how excited I am about this technology, what I'm working on currently, what I'm learning, and what I would love to do at Xanadu. He offered me an internship. And there, thank you. There, I got to work on some of the most exciting work I have ever been able to. I started to learn how to code and create quantum circuits. And being somebody who had not known anything about coding, this was super hard. I was like, I've never created a normal program. You want me to create a quantum program? What? And so this process of learning took a lot of iteration, a lot of practice, and a lot of help from experts in the field. And the first really interesting quantum circuit that I was able to created this weird quantum state. And it kind of looks like a messed up volcano, but it's actually called a Wigner function. And what a Wigner function does is it describes the position and momentum of a qubit. What's really interesting is that if you see that below the x-axis, the red region, that actually shows that we have a negative position and a negative momentum. Just think about that for a moment. How could we possibly have a negative position and a negative momentum? That makes no sense to how our world currently works. But things work on a very different way within the quantum mechanical world. And that's why we can take a problem that took 150,000 years and make it a couple of seconds. Now, I think these quantum circuits are really interesting, and so I actually wanted to show you a live demo of how we can run quantum circuits on the cloud from a quantum computer that's continents away. So what you see here is another quantum circuit, and each line that you see actually represents a wire. One wire represents 1 qubit, so in this circuit, we have 3 different qubits. Above all of our qubits, we have a bunch of different quantum gates, and quantum gates can be represented by, they have a mathematical representation, and it essentially transforms the state of the qubit in some weird way. So in this program in particular, I put the squeezing gate and a measurement gate. What the squeezing gate does is it actually quite literally squeezes the position or the momentum of a quantum state, so it kind of looks like this. So now I can take this program, this really simple quantum circuit that I made in a couple of seconds, and I can actually run it on a real quantum computer continents away. So I run the program, and I get this funky quantum state. And quite literally, again, it just squeezed the Wigner function. Now, quantum states are really interesting, and you could be staring at this thing for hours because it just looks so cool. But they have no practical application. We can't actually use this quantum state and do something with it. What we can do within quantum computing is create more complicated quantum circuits. And these are the quantum circuits that then go on to create quantum algorithms. And quantum algorithms are really the thing that is going to take a problem to be 150,000 years to a couple of seconds. So a couple of months ago, some TKS students, the Knowledge Society students, and we traveled to Berkeley, California. And we got to work with one of the world's leading quantum companies called Rigetti. And there, we worked on an algorithm that could take the drug discovery process from being 10 years and $2.6 billion to potentially a fraction of that. we worked on an algorithm called a variational quantum eigensolver. And what it does at a high level is it simulates the energy levels of a molecule and then does machine learning on it to optimize the molecular structure. And using this algorithm and a bunch of other algorithms that people are going to be creating within quantum computing, we're hoping that we can then tackle some of the world's most difficult issues. But I really want to go back to this idea of Moore's law and how we need to figure out a way to exceed the amount of computational power we have in the next 3, 5, 10 years. Because otherwise, we won't be able to solve some of the world's most difficult problems that we're going to be facing in the next decade. Quantum computing is the way in which we can surpass this limiting computational power. And a couple of months ago, I would never think that I would be on this stage talking to all of you. But when given the right sense of direction and the right mentality, even a 15-year-old can change the future. Thank you.
So, can we just take a moment to recognize that we have amazing students like Brianna all over the world that are going to drive the future? It's pretty incredible to think about the power of mindset, the confidence that we can give our students, and the technologies to solve challenges. I'm curious, how have you changed the way in which you learn your traditional subjects, maybe as you think about the experience that you've had with quantum and the power that it presents?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I go to school, I have a completely different experience now. I try to optimize school to get the most value out of it. And so, like, when I'm talking to my teachers and I may have already learned something, I'll tell them, oh, actually, I'm working on this part of quantum computing, and so I've already learned this part about it. Can I actually do the separate project that dives deeper into this concept? And that's how I try to just optimize how much value, how much can I learn from school today with the given knowledge that I have within quantum computing as well.
And you've learned boss mentality.
Boss mentality.
What recommendation would you have for the educators here to take some of the things that you've learned, and maybe some, as a student, what are the things that you'd like to see from these educators in the room?
Mm-hmm. I think students really need to start thinking about the future. I think students in general, we've always been thinking about the past and learning about history, which is valuable, but we need to start thinking about the technologies or sciences that will disrupt 5, 10, 15 years from now, because we're going to be the people who are actually working within those industries. And if we have no clue about them, how are we supposed to do a great job at paving the future into the right way?
Well, Brianna, I think the future is in good hands with students like you, so thanks very much for joining us here at E2.
Thank you.
Take care. It's pretty incredible. There are students like that all over the world. I get a chance to meet some amazing individuals. I get very confident that when we raise expectations for students, they're going to exceed it consistently. So all of you are bringing that to your classrooms, and certainly it's tough to follow an amazing presenter like Brianna. So we felt like the only way to top an amazing student like Brianna is to pad the rest of the agenda with amazing MIE experts. They're going to share some of the work that they're doing in the classroom, and hopefully all of you will give these folks great support. Are we going to have a great round of applause for every one of the folks that I'm going to bring up? Come on. So let's talk to the first one. So I am excited to introduce our next presenter. She's in Milton, Pennsylvania, and really working as a library media specialist in the K-5 space, trying to inspire her students on a journey that's one of the most important journeys for every learner, a journey on reading. And getting students excited about books, learning, and reading is what her passion is, and she brings that passion to her work as an MIE. So please join me in welcoming Karey Killian.
Thank you, everyone. everyone. What a huge honor to be here in front of every one of you, to be on stage in front of the MIE experts at an E2 event. This is truly the time of my life. So I'm excited to be here, and I will have to preface this by saying I am not the quiet librarian, so I don't expect you to sit here and be very quiet while I present. It is okay to shout out and say, woohoo! So if I'm saying something that you enjoy, go ahead and do that shout out for me. That just is wonderful. This is all about you, and we're going to celebrate how we as educators bring passion and learning into our school and in our environment every day. What you're doing is truly, truly incredible. So thank you, Anthony did a great job in introducing. I am a library media specialist. I teach 930 students in 7 days, and then I do it again the next 7 days. So I have an amazing opportunity to inspire them. What am I going to teach today that they need to learn for their futures? And I have the flexibility and the opportunity to do that as an educator because I'm a library media specialist, and I'm able to create and design the lessons that I feel are important for them. So I think in order for our students to become change makers, they need to see us as change makers. So I have a few characteristics here that I just kind of came up with. I think these are very important in order for you to be change makers, as most of you in here probably already know. But relationship builder, I think this is the #1 key thing in education today are the relationships that we're building. We're building positive relationships that are making a difference and influencing people around the world, and every conversation, every piece that we have, when you get down to that level, that student, you're talking to them and listening to them, that's powerful and meaningful. So you want to be building relationships with your students, with your parents, with your communities, your colleagues, your administrators, your school board, everyone in that school community. It's super important for you to have positive relationships with them. And one way to do that is to build trust. Be dependable. Be someone that people know that I can talk to this person and I know she's not going to go talk about me to somebody else. She's going to keep it positive and keep this relationship important and value it. And I want to also let you know, like, scholarly pride, I don't know if it's really a word, I just put it up there. But scholarly pride, like what you do in schools, whatever your school is working on, the initiatives they're doing, take pride in it. And because you are innovative and because you find solutions for things, if there's something that the school is thinking, hey, let's go this way, I think it's going to be great, but you have an idea that might make it even better, feel free to talk to someone, talk to the administrator and say, you know, I like your ideas that we're going to take with this, but I want to take it one step further. What would you think about? So if there's something that you're not quite sure about, have that pride to say, you know, I want to take our scholars to the next level. And also that scholarly pride, I want you all to leave here and say, you know what, I am an expert. I'm a teacher. I'm amazing. I am changing the world every day in what I do. It's something that we need to take pride in. And I also think it's something that, as educators, we need to be encouraging each other more. I can't tell you how much encouragement I've gotten from the world, saying we are looking forward to this time with you on stage. It has been incredible. And I want to see educators do that more with each other. In the classroom, you see something great, just peek in and say, you are doing an amazing job. Keep up the good work. We all know how difficult it is, and we need that encouragement from each other. So be flexible. You never know what your day is going to bring. Oh, Mrs. Killian can be a first grade teacher today? Sure, I can do that. You know, you just don't know what's going to happen. But you know what? Whatever it is, when I go into that school, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know this is what the students need from me today. So I'm going to do my very best. So try to keep that positive outlook and stay solution driven. And those are some characteristics. Your students are watching every move you make. And they see you as a change maker. They see you as that positive innovator. And they're like, you know what? Mrs. Killian does it this way. Maybe I could do that too. So that's the positive part. And even when things get really tough, like this is the invisible natural disaster that we had this summer at our school district. We had a lot of rain in Pennsylvania, and it created high humidity levels. And what happened is the mold crept into the schools, and then it just exploded into the schools. So we had experts in, we had people coming in with devices, and if there was any mold found on some, it was thrown in a dumpster. So we had classrooms that were all ready for the school year, bulletin boards put up, bulletin boards were taken down, classrooms completely gutted, nothing left but tables and desks. So some classrooms got hit hard, some not so much. I have 3 libraries that I do. One library didn't get touched at all. This was a library that lost 3/4 of the books that were in the library. And then I have another library that lost 2,000 books as well. In the end, we lost about $100,000 worth of library books. And so we were like, it's books, you know, our kids like to do ebooks. What's it matter? You know what? I poll my students often and I say, would you rather an ebook or a real book? And they really love that physical book. They really love the ownership of actually signing that out and taking it home with them. So I know how important this is for them. So when they came back to school, I saw this, and then the students were coming to school the next day. Whoa. So first I was like heartbroken, and I knew they would be too. And they asked questions, and I had to listen to them, but they know Mrs. Killian does that. That's what I do. I talk to my students, I listen to them. How did that make you feel? Mrs. Killian, why did they have to throw them away? Well, you know, there's mold on them, and that's not safe for you. And if there's mold on the books, I don't want them in my library anyway, because it's not safe for you. What is left has been tested, and it's safe, and it's good for you. But you know what? I think there's going to be some people that want to help us out. So our first library class was about, why don't you go ahead and take a little card, write down a title of a book, or write down, draw a picture. What are the books that you want in your library? And you know, the library was positioned this way when I got here, but it doesn't have to stay that way. What do you want to do? How should we put the books on the shelves now? There's not many, so we can put them any way you want. So, you know, so they helped me out, and we made it their library. I said, you know what, this library has been the same since the 1970s, and the only thing that has remained constant are the students are always still in this library. Principals are going to change, teachers are going to change, librarians are going to change, but you know what stays? The students stay. So you need to help them take ownership. It is their place. Library, classroom, school, whatever it is their place, and they need to take ownership of that. So understand their ideas and let them know how they can make this school and this place even better. And they will thrill you with your ideas. And that's where this Flipgrid comes in. Who's my Flipgrid fans? I need some woohoos out there. Okay, awesome, I needed that. So Flipgrid, 2 years ago, I'm like, you know, our libraries have never been remodeled. It's the 1970s. We live in a district where about 70% of our students are free and reduced lunches, and but they're amazing. They're amazing scholars. Love working with every single one of them. And 2 years ago, I thought, you know what? If we could design your favorite learning space, and you wanted this library to be your favorite place to come in the whole school, what would it look like? And they said, well, and they started some ideas. I said, and I want you to give me the zaniest, craziest ideas, and it's okay. Coolest idea that I love, they wanted to make the floor look like a Candyland board so the robots could play Candyland or their librarian. So I'm like, that is fantastic. I never would have thought of that. But the students, if we allow them to use their minds and their creativity and just let them be themselves and let them come up with these big ideas, they're going to blow you away with their great ideas. So what they came up with in their Flipgrid videos, and I shared them with my administrators, he's like, this is great. And they wanted a library with our school colors. Our school colors are black and orange and white. So they came up with black, orange, and white. They told me what kind of bookshelves they want. Mrs. Killian, we still want maker spaces. A Lego wall would be really cool. So nobody said the slide in the library. Well, no, we did get some slide in the library because I really wanted to slide in the library. So I'm like, if you want to slide in the library, that'd be really cool too. So they came up with this design. I'm like, you know, I'm an expert educator. I'm pretty good at what I do. I am not an interior designer, so I don't know how to arrange all this stuff. So I contacted a company. They're actually 40 minutes away from us, and they came in, they did some measurements, and they came up with this drawing. So I hung that drawing up in the library, and above the drawing, I put a sign that says, dream big. So students would come in and they're like, hey, Mrs. Killian, where's that library? I said, it could be yours. What? I said, well, those are the ideas that you gave me, and then the company put this together, and what do you think? That'd be so cool. And you know, it's been up there for months, and students still walk by, and they just kind of stare at that drawing. You're like, that's really cool. But actually, this dream might actually come true before the end of the school year, so really looking forward to that. It's just amazing. Like, if I didn't let them dream big, it would never happen. So you just never know where these things are going to go. So library number 2, we're doing Flipgrid assignments now. And I said, you know, I show them this picture. I said, this isn't your library. This is what the students at one of the other schools thought of. And, you know, your school might be next. So if someone comes to me and says, Mrs. Killian, hey, I need ideas like tomorrow. Because that happens sometimes. You need to get their ideas all the time. Keep learning from them. What are their passions? What are their desires? So when you get that, Ms. Killian, I need this in about a week. Do you have it? I can say, I absolutely do. Mrs. Killian, I got a phone call this summer, said, hey, do you want the black and orange around the tile of the school floor? I said, sure do. I knew that because I already talked to the kids about it. You have to have this big picture of like, you know what, maybe down the road someone might. Maybe down the road we could do this. Think those big things, those big dreams, and let them dream those. And you never know, crazy ideas, things like that can happen. But I'll tell you what, the more I teach, the more I learn, the more I talk, the less they learn. So I'll be talking about maker spaces, say, hey, this is what we're doing today. I'll introduce something like microbits, and then I was like, you get your library books. There's only 10 minutes left in class. I talked too much, didn't I? They're like, so sorry. So like, I need to change this up. It's not working. So teachers were constantly reflecting on what we're doing. Is it working? What could we do better? And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to make a Flipgrid. And my learners are going to take the lead. And so my students are now teaching each other how to use the products and the devices that we have in our libraries. They're showing Flipgrid videos saying, if you want to use snap circuits, or you want to make something origami, they show videos showing step-by-step how to do something. I did not have to do it all. I don't have to take their time. Now it's come to library. I expect you to look at the Flipgrids, and then if it's one of those days where it's not working for you to come up with something to make or design or create, you can't ever tell me you don't have anything to do. There's 170 videos on there that you can check out and just get some ideas, get some inspiration from each other. So our top 3 topics happen to be library designers. They love to design a space. Robotics, and engineers. So that's what our students are enjoying. And what happened is I have an iPad that has Minecraft for Education edition on it. And as I travel to my libraries, I will let students do that on my iPad. And it's one of their favorite activities. Well, one student created a video showing what he's doing with this really amazing library in I have a coolest library in Minecraft. Treehouse, waterfall. They create this library, and I said, wait a minute. I see lots of books, which is awesome, but I don't see a makerspace. Can you help me with that makerspace part? Yeah, so it's not ADA compliant right now. You go up the steps, and there's a really cool area, like a treehouse above the library. That is the makerspace area. So, but a student watched that. He went home, like I give homework in library, but he went home, and this is what he designed.
Hi, my name is Jackson Kling. I'm going to be doing a Minecraft review. Well, this is my library. You walk in. Here's a car that's filled with unread books. I mean, read books, but they just got returned. I have tons and tons of books around here. I got this idea from Dawson. He was the first one to do a library, so I thought maybe I could do one. Right here's the thing with the scaffolding. Here you go through, here's the librarian, and you can go out. That's
And then it was Cap. So, but he did a fantastic job. Shout out to Jackson Kling, who did this great video. And I want to tell you my favorite part about that is when he said, I just want to say this video was inspired by another student, Dawson, who created the first one. I thought maybe I could do it. So I'm not the only one inspiring students. Our students are inspiring each other every day. And I'm getting more and more Flipgrids over the weekends and at night that get submitted. I'm like, what are these kids doing at 6 in the morning that they're doing Flipgrid videos? Okay, waiting for school. Give them the opportunity to share their voice and share their ideas and be creative. The next thing that I love doing is Skype in the classroom. And I'll go to the Microsoft Educator community. I find Skype classroom activities to do. But one thing I did now, I added Skype learning onto my Flipgrid for makerspaces. I said, I'm going to let you guys be the educators, and you get to go onto Microsoft Educator community. I put the link right in the Flipgrid and said, you go onto that link, and you tell me some of those Skype classroom visits you would like to do. I haven't really had many requests yet, so if you put something in there, I'll do it for your class. So I'm getting more videos now. The kids are going to the Microsoft Educator community, finding what they want to learn about in the Skype in the classroom, and that's what we're going to do. So you're going to be inspired by so many educators while you're here at E2. One person that inspired me was Julie Hembry, and she talked about Books to Africa program. We did a Skype call with in Lesotho, Africa, and my students were like, we should send them some books. I said, okay, how many? And I was thinking, enough for each student. They're like, we want every student in the school to have a book. Oh, okay. Should I check with the teacher to see how many there are? Well, yeah. Okay. Wasn't my idea. This was their idea. So I found out how many they did, and they said, yeah, we want to do that. And we did. I was able to actually meet with the teacher. He was in Washington, D.C., met him with 2 suitcases filled with books, and he took them to his schools. So thank you. Amazing. Ideas not from me, but from my students. So you're going to see great things like that. And I just steal ideas from all of you, which is really great. Can't wait to go through that learning marketplace. So, but you see the different, like we connect with students, it builds empathy. We connect with authors, the students get excited about reading and writing, like, I can do this. And scientists that talk about career explorations, I'm doing that all the time. And park rangers, people who are passionate about what they're doing. So students hear from others and they're passionate about that. Computer science experts, yeah, that's not me. So I learn too. I love every Skype lesson. I have learned from every single one. So as educators, we're learning all the time and reflecting. And this is what I'm going to close with you today. I want you to follow the passion of your students. Help them to dream big, become the change makers that we need today. Thank you. You guys are a fantastic audience.
Karey, thank you for sure. Well, first off, dream big indeed. So I love that passion and that focus. And it's clear that you're having an impact. And I have a surprise for Karey. She doesn't know this, but we actually asked some of your students to reflect on some of the work you're doing, the impact that you're making on their lives. So please roll the video.
I had no idea how much was lost. The hardest part for me was just being strong for the students.
I miss the books that were in the library. We've lost a lot of books, and a couple of them we lost were my favorites.
Mrs. Killian, my favorite book's not here. And I said, you know what, just please write that down for me, because there's going to be opportunities for us to get new books, and I'm going to need to know what they are.
These are the books that I really want back in the library.
I really want these books in the library.
I really wish we had these books back in the library. These books are Bad Kitty,
Animal Care,
Piggy, and the
Jersey Watson, Owl Diaries, and Fancy Nightingale's Nest.
Thank you.
It's really amazing to see the connection and the passion that you've gotten from your students, the way they're supporting each other in your journey. One of the things I also want to share is that while you're here this week in Paris, Microsoft employees are going to be trucking new books to your libraries to bring, and so.
Oh, thank you.
And it's always an amazing sign of an educator's impact when students are sharing the vision, and all of you get this energy from your students. I know I'm going to see this in the learning marketplace for sure. It's amazing when you have that support from your students. It's even better when you have that support from your leaders. Many of you often feel that support from your students, but maybe not so much from your leaders. Karey's in the lucky position to have both. Not only did the students want to share their voice, she also doesn't know this, but her leader, the director of elementary education in Milton, also wanted to take part in this motion, and she's here now. So please join me in welcoming Daphne.
I told you I'd get you here.
So Daphne, tell me a little bit about the impact that Karey's making in Milton.
This is her every day. This is not just for this presentation, but this is who Karey is every day. Karey, your passion and enthusiasm for education it inspires me to want to be a better leader. So thank you. On behalf of Milton Area School District, we are so proud of you. Merci beaucoup. Thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you for being here, Daphne. Thank you.
What a surprise.
Thanks, Karey.
Thank you.
Well, it's great stories like that that really drive the heart of this community. And we want to celebrate and recognize all of that, but also to have you reach down and share the stories from your peers, amazing educators that you know that are doing awesome work, that we need to celebrate, recognize, and share their journey. We want to celebrate the change makers around the world and drive the impact that all of you can have every day in the classroom. So please roll the video to share about the work that we're going to do to accelerate and expand your voice.
The rise of hate speech. Apocalyptic impacts of climate change.
Chaos in Nairobi.
This is not a time to be silent. And our voice is a vehicle. It's about changing a mindset. They are the difference between what is and what could be. Teach them thoughts need not be confined to words, nor words to pages, and watch them go from talking about change to becoming changes. It's about how finding a voice can feel like finding a home. It's worth it to teach and empower every student to raise their own.
So we're going to want to hear your stories of change. We want to celebrate the impact that you're making. We want you to reach out and bring others forward so we can expand and grow this community and share the impact that you're making with your leaders in your country so they can recognize the power and potential that they have all around their classrooms. We don't want to think that education is not slow to change. We're bracing the change and driving big impact. So please, please recognize that, and you'll hear more details going forward. So now we're ready to hear for some experiences from some amazing MIEs. Are you guys ready? So I'm going to introduce 3 awesome folks from all over the world. So Vanita, Steve, and Michael will share what they're doing in their classrooms specifically. And I want you to give them a great round of applause. And let's start with Vanita. Vanita is actually from India, and she is working on bringing immersive learning into her classrooms. This is certainly something that many of you are passionate about, and she's bringing the power of AR and VR to our students to create transformational learning experiences. So please join me in welcoming Vanita Garg. Good to see you.
Hi everyone, and namaste from India. I'm Vanita Garg from Shahid Rajpal Devi Public School, and I'm really excited to share with you all how augmented, virtual, and mixed reality provide an immersive and more effective learning experience to our students. With AR, VR, and MR, we can provide with AR, VR, and MR, educators are no longer limited by the space of the classroom. While AR brings abstract concepts to life, VR lets you explore the world virtually, and MR, which is the mix of AR and VR, blends the physical world with the digital world. So let's dive deep into Paint 3D to understand how easily we can bring these wonderful technologies into our classroom. So now about Paint 3D. Paint 3D is a fabulous tool which is available for free with Windows 10. Students can easily create their own 3D models using variety of 2D and 3D objects available. The app also boasts a wide range of artistic tools from brushes to stickers to textures which students can use to embellish their models. 3D Library, which is a huge online catalog of 3D objects, helps students to create their own content with ease. And last but not the least, the most amazing feature, mixed reality, which lets your students to get their own content into real world, where they can move their content, resize it, move it, play with it, and hold it. And this brings real happiness and fun in my classroom. Not only this interactive platform helps my students to this interactive platform brings happiness and lots of fun in my classroom. My students, they get encouraged to work with greater zest when they create their own 3D models and when they bring them into real world. Also, when they make their 3D models, they get more of happiness in the real world. And one sec. So this interactive platform not only encourages my students, but also helps them to bring the real world into their classroom. And when they visualize the concepts in a new way, their ability to retain the information also increases. They positively impacts their ability to retain information. And not only this, when it increases the ability to retain their information. This positively impacts their ability to retain information. So not only this, many of my students who are very great at visualization, they are positively impacted by this, and they may not be able to express their understanding in words with ease. So they are greatly impacted by this. So let's listen to success stories of some of my students.
3D modeling of complex science formulas makes my understanding better. It helps me interact with the 3D models which were difficult to understand earlier. It makes learning as engaging as a video game.
For me, learning by doing is more easier than learning by listening. I always wondered what if we are taught in a more creative way, like in a three-dimensional way. When my teacher introduced me with Paint 3D, I was more than excited. Paint 3D will revolutionize the world of learning. Now I will not even cram a single concept, but will actually experience it with the help of mixed reality and learn it in a better way.
Seeing the students who are failing and struggling to learn, they are now feeling confident. And this gives a sense of achievement for me as a teacher as well. And not only this, this interactive platform provides untapped learning opportunities to my students. Many of my students who really wish to experiment, explore, and create something new to address world problems our world is facing today and find their solutions are also benefited by this magical tool. So let's see what they are doing.
I always look forward for a sustainable future in which we can use green energy as a fuel for vehicles. Paint 3D has helped me to design my own model of cars in which I have added rotors of drone and a thruster for its movement. It will definitely be an asset to address the environmental issues of today.
Always wanted to do something for the environment. I had an idea to design a housing system in which we could produce electricity using sewage water and solar panels. Using Paint 3D, I made this model on my PC. Not only could I make this 3D model easily, but mixed reality feature helped me to visualize things in a better way.
I feel delighted and amazed at the same time when I see these young children bubbling with ideas to save Mother Earth. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. The ball is already set rolling, and achieving SDGs would soon be a reality. I must say, Paint 3D has opened the doors to greater student engagement and enhanced creative and design skills. My classroom has transformed to a completely immersive classroom where students are taking greater ownership of their learning and they're transforming their dreams into reality. This is something great. Thank you.
Great job. Thank you so much. Okay, next up, we have the head of digital pedagogy from All Hallows School in Brisbane. And I know we've got a lot of OneNote fans here. He's going to talk about the use of learning tools and immersive reading in his classroom. So please join me in welcoming Steve Crapnell.
I'm going to launch myself up here on my desk where I've got everything here. So look, thank you for giving me the opportunity this morning to talk to you a little bit about learning tools. And I will be channeling my inner Mike Taralson. So look, we have the opportunity to provide an accessible and inclusive classroom for all students. Accessibility is something that is actually required by over 1 billion of our students, yet the benefits of an inclusive and accessible classroom benefits all our students. I need to take you back a few years to show you this slide. When I saw this for the first time, it was a watershed moment for me. This is what some of our students see every lesson of every day of every week. And we've got to change that. We've got to level this playing field. And we've got the tools to do that. So let's have a quick look at the now famous periodic table of Microsoft Learning Tools. This shows you the products that are available across the different platforms and all the tools that are involved. And this, for us, is the first step. This is the how, okay? And we need to know the how. So a little bit of a deep dive. Here's a bit of a text that I use for my one of my maths classes. And we're going to have a look at this. It's quite dense. So we're going to have a look at it. This is in the OneNote app with some of the tools we've got available to us. So, okay, there we go. We've got a little read aloud button down there. We hope that does what it says on the packet. So up here, we've got the text preferences. We've got text size, we've got increased spacing, we can change the font, we can change the background, okay? And we've got a lot of palette of colors down here. Comic Sans with the blue-black is ideal for students with dyslexia. We have the grammar tools, we turn the syllables on, and we can actually name the parts of speech here. Okay, we turn that off, we can have a run through.
Activity 1, snowboarding.
Come on.
Bigger snowboarding is a winter sport in which...
Fantastic. Okay, so we can see there, we can leave the labels. I'm not going to risk it too much, am I? What do you never work with children, animals, and technology? Here we go. So some of the options we got available to here. Line focus. Okay, we can drop the line focus. We can make the visual clarity clearer. We can bring it down to one line. And again, the reader will follow along with us.
Participants perform aerobatics while sliding down a sculptured slope.
I mean, that's brilliant. Okay, another tool here that we look at is the picture dictionary. This helps with the cognitive load. We get the dual channeling going here. We come back into the document here. Snowboarding. Okay, we've got winter. I wasn't too keen on this one. Okay, we get judged. And then we've got competition, and we've got the audio with that as well. That's brilliant.
Competition.
Thank you. Okay, so we jump in here. Look, we've got the translate tool here. We're in France. Let's give it some French. So we can do it by word. Okay, jump in here. Yes, I have. There we go. So, whoops. There's the English.
Winter.
Hiver.
Winter.
Okay, now we're going to be really brave. We're going to flip the whole document. Give it a tick. Here we go. So we've now got it in French.
Le snowboard d'hiver est un sport d'hiver dans lequel les participants effectuent.
Fantastic. Up here we've got the two little flippers. That turns it back to the original. That turns it back to the French. Okay, that's just ideal. So we come back here. We have a look at the online version. So there's the same document online. We're going to have a look at it in Immersive Reader. Now, we're not going to go through the tools because you don't need to. It's the same. Now, for students, that's really, really important. That it's not a new interface. It's not something they need to learn all over again. It's brilliant. Onto internet, we get our students do a lot of internet researching. Mark Savory, this is called Karma. So here's a web page here, and it's got a lot of visual clutter. And we've got a little tool up here. Bang. Now, we're using the Edge browser for this. So that's what we've got to remember. We're using the Edge browser. It's a lot less visually cluttered. It's clearer for the students. And we do get some tools involved as well. Up here, we have text options. We have the read aloud option. We've got some learning tools there. And look, that is just brilliant. So back into, because we can't forget the mathematicians on one. Have a look at this. So we got the draw tool. There's my inked, whoops. There's my inked equation. We come over here to the maths helper. Solve for x. Steps of solving the linear equation. I think that's pretty special on its own, but it gets better. There's the immersive reader icon sitting in there. So that's now accessible for all the students as well. Okay? Yeah, look, both of those features deserve the biggest round of applause. So, jumping out here. Whoops, back one. These are important quotes because that's the how. Learning Tools gives us the how. We also need to give the teachers an understanding of the why. This is a great quote. And it's so true. We know our students and we know that's true. We'll look at Mike Taralson here. No student should have to ask for access. It should just be there. You know what it is. It's called Learning Tools. Use it. And I've lost my mouse cursor. There we go. And part of the how, the why for teachers, wonderful course on the MEC course made by Dyslexia, just raise the awareness. Okay, the how is there. The why is just as important. So I'm going to leave it with this challenge. Go back to your schools. Be responsible for activating the students and the teachers to become engaged with Learning Tools so we can have inclusive and accessible classrooms for all of our students all of the time. Thank you so much. It's been great. Thank you very much, Anthony.
Thank you so much, Steve. That was a great experience, not only to share the power of what's in OneNote and Learning Tools, but really the importance of inclusivity across our learning environments. So next up is, and I love this name, Michael Fleischhacker, who's going to talk about, I love how he's hacking and he's got it in his name as well. He's from Austria and he's going to talk about the power and give some great tips on using Microsoft Forms in your classroom. So please join me in welcoming Michael.
Hello world, hello YouTube. It's amazing to see here all the teachers from all the world. Do you know that? Sorry about. I jump back. I'm amazing to see you all. Sorry, I have a.
I show you Microsoft Forms. In Microsoft Forms, we jump to Microsoft Forms, sorry. In Microsoft Forms, we have two different choices. We can create a form or a quiz. And to begin, we create a quiz. We give the quiz a name. I think, sorry. We give the quiz an, oh, that's not so fine, sorry. We give the quiz a name, E2. It's supposed to be about maths, and we choose the first task. We can choose between choice, text, rating, and date. Do you know that? You invite and re-invite 100 different tasks over and over again for your student, and then I will show or will make you. And then I will give you a no innovation in your school, the math function in Microsoft Forms. With this new option, we can create a new equation or a new task. Here we can see this is an equation, a very simple one, and I confirm this with OK, and we can select them and Forms generated automatically the right answer and the wrong answers for me. And that is very amazing. It's really amazing. But wait, your student learns through repetition and practice. But we need more examples, or? But wait, what's happened if we open the next task? Wait a minute. Forms create automatically the right answer for me. And we can choose what we want. We can choose 1, 2, or 3. And task done. Incredible, right? Sorry. But that's not all. I will change in another quiz. Wait a minute. Here I have prepared a quiz for you. I called this quiz, What Do You Know About Paris? In this quiz, I have prepared two different questions. The first question is, when was the Eiffel Tower built? And the second quiz, question is, what is this for a building? But what's happened if the student does not understand the first question? Wouldn't that be great? He gets additional information that someone else does not need. With the branching function in Microsoft Form, we can choose this. We can change the different answers. We can change for this example. We have the first question, when was the Eiffel Tower built? And in this question, if the student answered the first question wrongly or correctly, if he answered the question wrongly, we can change to the question 2 or to the next question. If he answered the question wrongly, we could jump to another question. In this case, to question 3 or to a help question. On the second question, we could say the quiz is over, and we can say quiz is to end for all 3 answers. And the first task, this is to help. This is a question we can give the student help or more information, and we can say jump to the question 2. But if it's work, we can test it. Wait a minute. For this case, I take the wrong answer. In this case, 2019, and we jump automatically to the next question. In this case, to a help question. Here, for this example, here we can edit a video or other example, and if the student have completed the task, we can jump automatically to the next question. In this case, to the question 2. I think this feature is amazing and an incredible tool for me and my students, and I hope it's also for you. And I hope you try it out in your class, and I hope we see us. Bye.
That was a great example of the power of forms. I love the use of forms in Forms is one of the products that we have not consistent use on Office 365, but the schools that use Forms actually are tremendously valuable and getting tremendous insight from it. Now, please join me in recognizing Vanita, Stephen, and Michael for the work that they did to share their impact. Great job, great job. I know they're helpful tools and really helpful to have great MIEs like them. I am going to just wrap up in a bit, and Sonia is going to be coming on for housekeeping, so don't get up as we wrap. But I wanted to just reflect on the continued innovations that we're bringing to our products. This is one of the great things about this event and our MIE community, because all of you are helping to fuel new innovations. A lot of what Michael just showed you on Forms and Stephen's feedback on OneNote is coming from innovative educators using the tools in the classroom, and our engineering teams continue. They're all here to learn from you. So continue to share the ways in which you're using our products, how we can continue to make them better. You're going to see further and further updates on a consistent basis to our core products, as well as new entrants like DataSense to bring data and intelligence into the way in which you're using insights to drive better learning outcomes. So we're going to continue to build new innovations reflecting from your innovation. So thank you for your leadership. Continue to push, continue to give us feedback, because we want to hear from you and learn from you to make our products great and more impactful to all of you in the classroom. I also wanted to share some exciting news on a tool that brings us all together, and that's our community. Many of you have been some folks have reached out to you to get feedback on the work that you're doing on the community. Now, we started this community several years ago. It was a labor of love to recognize the need for bringing one central place together where we can share ideas, connect educators together, and learn. And one of the things that we recognize is the need for us to build curriculum, courseware, materials to help all of you educate and learn about how we can bring in technology and innovation to the classroom. And that's something that we're really going to double down on. So our engineering team is building a new version of our learning platform to help educators that are using our community to not only get better insights, but get richer experiences across the platform. So stay tuned. Now, this is coming probably in the summer time frame, a new view of our community. And this is going to be primarily building on our learning platform tools to create a great learning experience. So stay tuned for insight. If anyone asks you your feedback on the community, and I know you're not a shy group, please make sure you share your feedback of what you like, what you don't like, what needs to change, and all the elements that you value from the community so we can continue and enhance this. But we're really, really looking forward to making this the best place for you to connect and the best place for you to learn so you can bring innovation to your classroom. So thank you very much for that. Now, I'm just going to really, and I know we're over time, so I'm going to wrap up, and I'm going to be with all of you this whole week, and I look forward to spending time. The best hours of my entire year are the exhibit, the Learning Expo, to learn from all of you and see your innovations. And I've told other people in Microsoft, don't miss the amazing awesomeness that you guys deliver in that experience. So I'm looking forward to sharing and celebrating with all of you. But I want to just reflect and really share my appreciation for your leadership, your commitment to your students, your passion for education, and the joy you get from each other. It's something that inspires me and inspires the entire team of Microsoft. Thank you so much for the work that you do to change the world. And you are changing the world in ways that you probably don't even realize. Thank you for the impact that you're making. And thanks for being part of the best community of people in the world. We really, really love each and every one of you. And thank you for the work that you're doing. Enjoy the rest of E2. And please welcome Sonia in a minute. And thank you all for everything that you do. Good round of applause. And thanks for everyone watching on Facebook Live.
Hang on, you guys. We got to get a picture. Anthony right here.
Oh, okay. We're doing a selfie.
You guys, big smiles on your